How's the mic switch? Did the mic
you
switch
switched the mic?
Last episode, it used to be over here. Then I did the switch to
Why'd
here.
you switch it?
So that the camera could capture. So I wasn't hiding behind it, like I was for video purpose, I want to see the whole thing.
I was thinking the more you could cover your face.
So I get right behind it.
If you could wear a mask.
I could. I definitely could.
Oh, no.
I don't mind.
Hey, Band Meeting Podcast with Tyler and Dave.
That's the beauty of the podcast is you really don't have to look at us. It's meant for audio. So the video is kind of just like, it's an afterthought. But you can't look at us.
I'm curious how many people listen and how many people watch,
Well, you told me you thought it was almost funnier when you were just listening, right? As opposed to watching. And I kind of can see that as well.
See that?
Ooh, yeah, that's not what I meant.
I am a guy to definitely laugh at my own jokes, though. I'm definitely like the guy that sits there and will make up a joke and tell it and then laugh louder than anybody else. And they're like, what? That's inappropriate.
That's why you're our podcast #1 fan.
I am. If there was a way, I don't even know how to. I don't even know. I think I have listened to it on Spotify just to make sure it works.
I can't listen to myself. I just sound like my brothers. It's really weird to me.
You sound most like your sister.
Yeah.
No, you definitely sound like your brothers, 100%. It's crazy. You and Jesse. I call him Jess.
Yeah, I call him Jess most of the time. Hockey season started, so we've been chatting a lot. He's giving himself a lot of credit for my fantasy hockey team. It's like, man, it's going to be the quickest rebuild ever, thanks to me. All right. Thanks to you.
Why was he doing?
He gave me a few tips on who to draft and stuff like that. I did take him up on one of his tips.
Who'd you draft?
I drafted a German rookie. He plays for the Ottawa Senators named Stützle, and he just played in that World Junior tournament. And he got player of the tournament, which is tough to get on a team like Germany, where they don't even make it to the medal round. But he had 5 goals, 5 assists for Germany, and I love my team Germany's, so it was an easy choice for me.
That's right. He
scored already.
Wasn't it? Was it? World Cup, Germany won that one year. Remember, we watched it in Burbank by my house. We went to
That's right.
That pub that had German food or something. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember.
What's that place called? It's pretty badass.
Goldschlagens, something like that.
It's like Goldfingers, or I love gold.
I have all my German jerseys for soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you're listening.
Foosball. I like to call it foosball.
I do love to play foosball. I do love to play some foosball too.
Do you do spinnies or no spinnies?
I say no spins. You got to keep it in control. There's no reason to get all OOC.
It's the worst when you play someone they set up and then they just like wha-bam, and that's like and I'm like, well, that's impossible to save that unless it literally just hits your player and bounces off. I'm like, this is stupid. 4-0. You're like, all right, this is dumb.
I love pub games. Any kind of pub game. I'm a gamesman. I love it. I like any kind of.
Yep.
Pool is probably my least favorite, but I like ping pong, shuffleboard. Anytime there's a game, I'm just like, yes.
I had a couple friends that were like pool sharks. His buddy Brandon, him and his brother Byron, they were like pool sharks, and they just were so good at pool. So we would go to the pub, and they could beat anybody. And he told me one time, I think he played some guy that brought his own pool cue, and you screw it together. And he beat him, and the guy snapped it in half or something. But it was pretty cool.
That's amazing. If your pool cue fails you once, you need a new one.
You got snapping in half when it comes unscrewed. You're like, oh.
I don't snap
so mad
my pool cue in half unless it's in a barroom brawl, and I'm doing it over
some guy's back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's always over some guy's back because they pre-cut it, so it has to break, or it doesn't look like it hurts.
We know the movie magic.
If it didn't break, it would probably actually hurt more. You're like, oh my God. Yeah. But if it breaks, it would release the tension. Movie's got to figure that shit out.
We made a little movie. We did spend some time filming on tour.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, our murder mystery movie. We had some of
When?
our friends guest appear.
Oh, that's so good. Well, anyone that listens to it hears it think that's a porn. It's not. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Twatson.
That's right.
I was
Officer Schlongfellow was played by Dean.
Officer Schlongfellow. So everything was some porn thing, but there was no porn. It was like it was a real script.
The script was what sold it.
Scripted. Yeah, because there's twists and turns. There's arcs and character arcs. It was good, man. Yeah, we would have like guests. So that if we were on tour with a band, we would get like someone from the opening band. Hey, you want to play a hooker? They're like, sure.
Rick from Adelita's Way
played a hooker. Yep.
Yeah.
We made him lay in like, because we do a show and then we would film after the show, like until the buses left. So we're like, hey, we got 3 hours till the buses leave. So we would, and of course, before the show, me and you would go reconnaissance, scout locations, and we'd find like someone's dressing room or some brick wall or alley. We're like, this is perfect. Got great light right here.
That's right. We'd make it work. We just had to make it work.
And it was odd. We were mic'd up for sound, and then it was great. And it's funny because everybody that hears about it is like, oh yeah. And then we play them a scene, and they're like, okay, this is like a real movie. This is really good. Like, yeah,
this is really good. Yeah, we know.
They're like,
whole costume. We would fly with that costume bag. I remember we flew to the UK, and it was like, I think it was like, try to limit how many bags of gear and stuff we take. And there's like 21 pieces of gear.
That's right.
A huge hockey bag full of costumes and
wigs, hookers,
really
wigs
important
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God. One time we went through and they pulled the bag out to the X-ray machine and they showed us like there's a gun in here. We're like, what? And we had like a fake
toy gun in there.
Toy gun, and they went through it and they found it. We're like, oh yeah, sorry.
You can keep that. You can keep that. You want to sign it?
Imagine being at the airport. It's like a big, huge bag full of women's wigs.
It looked pretty awesome because it was just like a gun on the X-ray, full just revolver.
Yeah, it was. We're like, oh yeah, that's a fake gun. It's a fake gun.
That's one of our favorite things, like when we were touring, it was you find something to do with the opening bands, just hang out and get them in production of the movie, get them holding lights or cameras or doing something.
Fun. Oh, so much fun. Me and you got into cameras, stuff like that. We get like certain got this like steering wheel thing. You'd mount the camera inside so you could run and like turn it, look like you're chasing someone down. It's always little props we would get. But so now every time I see someone like who's got a camera or a lens, they're like, what kind of lens is that? What do you got in there? Check that out.
Unfortunately, the project just froze in time. We stopped touring, I guess, at one time, and then a couple of the crew guys that were kind of staples for the actual storyline were working with other bands, and we're like, man, we can't shoot that without Nick. We need Nick.
She played Madame Nutrash.
Madame Nutrash, yeah.
We filmed everywhere. We filmed around the world. We filmed some. Yeah. We filmed some in the UK, and Dean was Officer Schlongfellow, and he was dressed like a full Bobby.
Yeah, it's a beat stick.
And we had a billy club, and we were in the street filming. We set up these lights that would flash to look like cop lights on the wall. Yeah. So when we'd film, it looked like there was a cop car, and cars would come by, and Dean would be directing traffic. Remember? It was
amazing.
And people would listen to him because he looked like a Bobby. And then didn't we go back to our hotel?
Yeah, we went back to the hotel and we just like walked into full costume into the elevator, and somebody's like, what are the Bobbies doing here?
Yeah, because Dean was just dressed in a full Bobby with a billy club, and they're like, what's the Bobbies doing here?
Yeah, I love it.
Full Sherlock Holmes.
So much good. So many good memories filming that.
We got to release some scenes somewhere.
We just have to build something out of it because there's too much good stuff. Like we need to make a 3-minute trailer out of everything that we have, and then that'll be just good enough.
There was some good stuff. I remember I'd figured out how on like Final Cut to make like, the Batman.
Yeah.
It would spin, but it was my face. Spin in and out.
The cut out of the pipe.
The pipe, yeah. And I did it. I put it on your record player.
That's right. And filmed it from above.
I filmed it on your record player spinning. and then I just zoomed in on it, and it would just like spin, and you make like a key or something. It's like a green screen thing, and it's amazing how I figured all that stuff out.
The criminal mind is no match for your highly intelligent, sophisticated skills of deduction.
Watson. Yeah, that was one of the things that you were always the smart one, and I would cut you off and repeat what you were saying, and you'd be like, "Oh, very good."
Well said, Sherlock. Well said indeed.
Yeah, it was so good.
People want to see this now after hearing. We're going to have to try to figure out a way to get some of this out there.
Well, we can always do part 2. You were talking about doing something else, like something in the future or time machine or something. I don't know what you were talking about.
I don't know either, man. Half the time I'm talking.
So many amazing ideas.
Yeah.
Hollywood, give us a shout.
Yeah. What are we doing today? We're talking with our friend, Ayron Jones?
Ayron Jones, man.
That'd be fun.
We toured with him a ways back.
We never got him in our movie. We never got him in our movie, though, did we?
No,
he was post. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. Would have been fun. He would have been a good hooker.
That's true. I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And all hookers die. That's the thing. We're like, you want to play a dead hooker? So you have to lay on the cement. Don't move.
Rick laid in the grass and just got eaten alive by...
He got a bunch of hives or bites from...
Bites, yeah.
But
he never broke character. He never broke character. He's... props to Rick to Jesus for that.
He's a professional, and he got paid accordingly.
Yeah, he got paid what his value.
Yeah, exactly. I was telling you that I started watching that Night Stalker TV show documentary.
I don't really know anything about it. You said it's a documentary about some murderer.
Oh, it's so scary. It's so scary because it's like anything that's like always 70s and 80s, right? So it's always like when they show you the footage, it's like creepy. Just the footage is like back then, like the color and like the way they took shots. Ugh.
Back then, I'm like, man, they couldn't even they didn't even get a Nest camera notification that there was somebody creeping in their backyard.
They didn't get any kind of the neighborhood ring saying, "Hey, man, some weird dude just climbed in a window." Yeah, no, it's scary. I was actually having a bath watching the first episode, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I live alone, so I'm like. So then the scenario goes to your head. You're like, what if he comes in the bathroom right now? What do I do? I'm like, well, I get up, I throw the towel on him. Do you ever have those full fights?
I pitch scream.
Oh yeah, I thought about screaming. Neighbors will hear me. But you ever thought about do you have full fight scenarios in your head? Like what would happen? And I'm like, I'm gonna be naked. So then I'd be embarrassed. What if I die naked? Oh.
Dude, I'm prepared for everything. Totally prepared for everything. I have weapons hidden everywhere in my house. If you open the garage door, that's where my sword is. I have a sword there. You just grab that. If somebody breaks in and you need to and they've got some kind of a medieval weapon, go for the sword.
Touche. Yeah, the sword.
Yeah, I got some throwing knives.
That's true.
I got to hide stuff where the kids can't reach it because I don't need.
Just going to say,
having
at one point you start
fights.
Having to hide this, so your kids all of a sudden you come home and your kids are playing with swords.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah,
that would be bad.
What about I always thought about doing booby traps. I feel that those would backfire immediately. It actually backfire while I was making it. I'd set a booby trap up, and then I'd walk into the kitchen, and oh god!
Or you're like setting up a rifle and tying a string to the trigger.
Yeah, a shotgun. Yeah, in my closet. I'm like, yeah, come on in.
This will do the trick. No chance this will fail.
So amazing. So never gonna work. Didn't some guy do that? He set up a shotgun. I heard the story. Shut up, and then he opened the door and a blue went off and killed him.
It sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, Google it. Someone Google it and let us know. Email us.
If not,
no one emails us and lets us know when I say that. No one does.
I don't check the email. I don't know how to do that.
Well, hook it up. But we are going to try to. We did on another podcast talk about our old teacher from high school, the music teacher,
our guitar teacher, Phil Ayers.
So we got his info, and you are going to reach out to him, right?
Maybe I'll give him a call tomorrow. I'll just give him a call and see if anybody answers the phone, because it's not a cell number. Does
he even have an area code?
It's a landline.
The number is 555. We're like, no, this is not correct.
This is, yeah.
But I found a friend sent me on Instagram, a full hour and 20-minute thing of the high school music performance when all the students showcase play for their parents and stuff. And Phil Ayers was up there on the podium. He's like, okay, next up is Tyler Connolly. He's going to play guitar. And it was pretty cool, man. Seeing some old friends like jamming out.
Showcase is where, like, it's where I learned to perform in front of people. I loved Showcase so much. It was the best thing. I was performing in showcases even after I graduated from high school with just like my younger brother's friends.
So did you go back and hit on some chicks, or you going to hey, I used to go to school here?
Dude, I was in it for the music, man.
Oh, really?
The music, all right? Come on. You know better.
I do.
You know better.
So you went back?
We went back for Neil Cooley's performance, and it was epic. It was full like death metal. And
was it did he write the song?
He played drums because it was music composition. So, he was a drummer, so he didn't really do anything. But he did get up on stage and get graded on our performance. So luckily he passed with flying colors, A+.
Phil Ayers I think everyone got A+.
Phil Ayers was the best teacher. I remember him calling us the dumb as dirt corner. It was like a But it was like a term of endearment. Like he did it, and when he said it, it made us feel welcome. We were the dumbest dirt corner. Me, Pete, Shane, and Matt Wood, and it was fun. We were always learning on the songs. Matt Wood.
The drummer?
No,
the other guy,
the hairdresser.
Okay.
Shit.
People listening going, what? There was two of them.
There's two Matt Woods. Anyway,
one went on to become the drummer and singer in
Pride Tiger, yeah, which is a really great band. They only put out one record, but it's a really great record.
I love it.
I love it.
It's got kind of a 70s rock. I don't know how to describe it. I don't like describing stuff. Just listen to it. You'll enjoy it.
I would say like almost Thin Lizzy-ish. If you were to try to compare it to something, it was like right up that alley.
Yeah, I like It's fun that we went to the same school, but you were not there at the same time as me. You're 3 years younger.
Yeah.
So you missed out on all the cool parties and stuff that I went to. All the hot babes. I'm old when I say hot babes.
I don't know if I missed out on
cringeworthy,
but
no. But it's sad because like Dean, he went to the rival high school. I don't know if he even they had a music program there.
The hills, down there in the hills.
Yeah, he lived in the hills. It was like the Beverly Hills of Delta, Sunshine Hills, where rich people lived.
The rival school. I love it.
We always talk about Dean on these. There's always a good Dean story. And I was thinking on our last one, we forgot. I want to talk about Dean in Los Angeles and the history of Dean and his I don't know what. He has an issue with Los Angeles for some reason. He says the smog.
That's right.
But it could be the multiple alcoholic drinks he has.
Because something about that town makes you want to get out and party. Well, Dean and I were roommates. We would always hotel room up together. So a lot of times he would go out in LA with one of his buddies. I forget his name, but he always go out with that buddy and like roll into the room.
AJ or something?
Yeah, he'd roll into the room at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I hear him knocking things over and stuff. I loved it. And I just listened to him, go back to sleep.
Because we did a first time when we first got signed to Roadrunner, they had an LA office, and I think we did a ton of press, like an insane amount. Is that what we did a photo shoot for some guitar magazine?
Oh,
they turned us into like.
You trying to ask me to recollect 2002 here?
I think we had to do they turned us into like comic book characters or something. It was for some Spider-Man thing or something.
I don't remember.
I think we did a photo shoot, but there was so much press that they had to split us up into 2 cars because LA is the worst. It takes you 40 minutes to get to one interview.
Right.
But the one time there was
we stopped and we got a bunch of Krispy Kreme donuts.
I don't know, because it was you and Dean, and then me and Tim went in another car.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And Dean was in the back seat behind the driver, who was the label guy, and I was in shotgun. And then Dean just projectile vomited like straight at the back of the headrest. I just remember getting like something all over my arm. Like, what happened here? It was tough. Like we drove a block, and thankfully in LA there's like a car wash on every corner. So we just like pulled in. Dean felt terrible. Literally felt terrible. He just sat on this side of the road. I'm like,
and the record label rep had. Like in his hair,
because it was the headrest. This is so gross too, but it was the headrest that's like, it's not solid. It was like had like a window. It was like a window frame.
That's right. You can slide them up and down. Like a Honda or something.
Good memories. Good memories.
I mean, you want to just like destroy the guy talking terrible.
Hey, we've all done it, man. You took a video of me in the Bahamas, like vomiting on myself. I wish I had. I don't remember any of that. That whole.
How did I not save that?
40-hour period of time where I was just blackout drunk. Hey, man, you know what happens to all of us?
We just finished a tour. And I don't know why, but it was like there was 3 days or something or 4 days between tours or something.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, we're going home. I'm like, wow, I'm not going home for 4 days. Fly all the way to LA and so me, you, and our tour manager are like, you want to go to the Bahamas? Because he's a scuba diver. And we're like, let's go.
It's your birthday. It was your birthday.
It was my birthday. That's what it was. I didn't want to go home for 4 days. So we flew to the Bahamas for like 3 days or something. And he, of course, booked us in some resort, which turned out to be really, yeah. It was a decent
that every time.
It's a decent resort. It was called Breezes.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fun.
But it was nowhere near like where everything was happening. We're like, why are we way out here? They were in the middle of nowhere. We had to take a cab to go do anything. And the guy's like, oh, this is a scuba diving, because this is a big scuba diver.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay. So, but it was,
I know.
It was good. But I don't know what happened. Like we flew in early morning or something.
No, we played in Northern Ontario. I remember every detail. And then we drove, and then we drove, and we got to an airport. We flew to Toronto, and it was like a 2-hour flight or an hour and a half flight. And I slept that whole flight. And then we got into Toronto, and we flew from Toronto to the Bahamas.
Yes.
And I did not sleep on that flight. I stayed awake the whole time, and we got there, and then I just couldn't eat. I was like, oh, I feel terrible. And we just
could drink.
And we just started drinking gin and tonics. I was drinking gin and tonics, putting them back. And I don't really remember much. I remember floating with the volleyball at one point, like just floating back with volleyball and a gin. And then I remember waking up in bed with like bloody knees. And I was like,
well, because I slept when we got there, you guys were swimming. And I just laid in a, whatever, chair, sunbathing chair. What do you call those things?
Yeah,
lounger?
Sure. Sounds right.
And I fell asleep, and I woke up. Tyler, get in here, man. Play some volleyball or something like that. And I can remember you seeing you, and you were already hammered. I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I woke up.
In a hot dog.
Yeah, we ate some hot dogs.
That's the only thing that was there. That hot dog stand was outside.
And I came and found you, and you were passed out on this lounger. I'm like, how you doing? You all right? You're like, yeah, man, I'm doing great. And
feel
then
pretty
you just
good.
fountain vomited all over yourself.
But you know what?
I'm
proud of myself for that trip, because the next morning we had early tea time for your birthday, and I was like death. I woke up and I drug myself down to the area that, like, the catering area, and I just wanted water, right? No, I wanted some water, but I couldn't find anybody or anything, and I found like the breakfast juice machine. And I grabbed like those tiniest little plastic cups, and I filled one with apple juice and one with cranberry juice. And I remember walking back to my hotel room with these two stupid things. And I just when I got back to my room, I drank them, and then I just started puking all over the place. And then we went golfing, and I continued to puke on the course. But hey, we had that par 3 where we both put it like within 6 to 8 feet away, and it was like 160-yard par 3 or something. We put those beauties in there.
Well, the guy was the course was called
Ocean. Yeah,
Ocean Club.
Ocean Club.
Oh my God, what an amazing course! Like,
Yeah,
literally, you put your ball into the sand. It was the beach. Like,
yeah,
I hit a ball into the water, and you could see my ball like 10 feet down at the bottom of the ocean. I'm like, there it is.
yeah. It was amazing.
That was a great day. That was a great
Picturesque.
trip. Yeah,
We
that
just
was awesome.
booked around right when we finished. We booked around for the next day. We're like, let's play again tomorrow.
Yeah, and we're like, how much is it? They're like, yeah, $300. We're like, all right,
let's
do it.
Yeah.
I think you still were puking, and you still played better than I did. You were like, ugh, and then you hit it, got a birdie.
Game turned around at the turnaround when I got a hoagie.
Yeah, probably
some kind of pre-made wrapped in like hard plastic hoagie. It was really delicious. Whatever.
Good times. There's endless amounts of road stories, and you're going to hear all of them.
I love reminiscing about them, to tell you the truth. It's good to take a trip down memory lane.
But the thing is, like, we don't exaggerate. This is exactly what happened. Like, it's not like, because, some people over time, their story changes and you're like, nah, come on, tell the real. That's exactly what happened. We're not making shit up. There's some good ones that we can't even tell. It's just so fun. But yeah, let's get to our guest today.
I think we should do that. Yeah. Let's talk to him.
Our guest today is a Seattle-born musician and songwriter considered to be a rising star in rock and roll. His forthcoming debut album on major label Big Machine, John Varvatos, starts with the new hit song "Take Me Away," which is out now. Please welcome Ayron Jones.
Hello, I'm here.
What's happening, man?
We got to get some like sound effects. I've seen some
fake
people like
audience. Some fake audience
RJ
screaming.
from Hillstorm has he's got like a producer guy, and he hits like fart noises and stuff.
So that's the next step for us. We need some fart noise machines.
We're in Seattle though, just like coughing noises.
Yeah, rain, pitter patter of rain. But yeah, you grew up in Seattle, man. So you're still in Seattle, born, raised, forever. You ever think about maybe leaving Seattle? Because I remember we were chatting. That was a few months ago or something, and you were in LA doing some stuff, and you were kind of like, can't wait to go home.
Well, that's true, man. I do love it here in Seattle. I've thought about moving, man, but it's just kind of hard to uproot. You know what I mean? Especially in a place that I've called home, and a place that I really identified with, and I identify with in my music, and have carried with me and stuff like that. So it makes it harder and harder for me to leave. And as my career grows, I'm finding like, there's more opportunities to expand, what I'm doing in Seattle. And so I'm looking forward to at some point owning some businesses and doing some things out here too. So, but I thought about it, man. It's definitely crossed my mind, to move. And my label's in Nashville. I talked to my wife about that recently, moving to Nashville. I'm like, 4 kids, move, no, so.
Well, I'm in the Southeast. I'm in Chattanooga, so it's not too far from Nashville. But I will say I definitely miss the Pacific Northwest. Every now and again, there's like Pacific Northwest-esque weather, and I'm like, oh, you feel that? It feels like home. It feels like home right here today. I'm just gonna go outside, walk around. It's cold. It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do love the Pacific Northwest.
That's something I love about being here. It's like there is definitely the opportunity to, in contrast to really have an adoration for the different seasons and the changes of the weather and all that. The 9 months of rain can be pretty rough. When it's raining forever, sky's just pissing on your face. Everything's just, so.
What's super important to like, especially because we tour, it's always important because sometimes you're stuck somewhere overseas or you're traveling somewhere really far. Your home life, to go back to the place you feel so at home and comfortable, it becomes the most important thing above all, because it's like, because you go on tour for 6 weeks or something, and the last week you're just counting the hours till you're like on that plane,
like a charging station.
So yeah. And then you get 2 weeks to recharge before you go back out, so it's important when you get home to be able to just like to actually recharge and so you can get back out there and do more work. And I will say that's one of the benefits, I think, of living in the Pacific Northwest. It honestly is a great, people come here from around the world to recharge. And, be encompassed by the nature and all that. I will say even then at the as I'm getting older, I'm getting less and less inclined to want to live. I'm born and raised in the city, like in the Central District, which is right outside of downtown. And so I've been a city boy, downtown boy my whole life. And we're to this point now with the kids and the wife and all that, where I'm just like, man, I'm over the noise, I'm over the people, I'm over all of it. So I do want to find myself a little piece of land and a little area where we can just kind of be alone and make some noise. Like I need to get a recording studio and all the stuff I need to be successful in the music industry.
See, well, maybe you need the second location. You need your home base in Seattle, and then you need a few acres out in Tennessee near the label where you can put up a little studio. Anyway, Ty and I will life coach you through this. We will get you exactly where you.
That would be amazing, man.
That's awesome.
I think that's one thing people.
I don't know if I'd be a good life coach.
People don't realize that I think a lot of people don't realize that about the music industry is how taxing it is, on your body and stuff. I was talking to some friends of mine recently about if I go back on tour, I'm going to need to work out and get in shape. And she's like, why? I'm like, well, it's just incredibly taxing. The last thing you want to do is go sit on a bus or be stationary for, 6 to 8 weeks at a time and go into it out of shape. You know what I'm saying? And you come out just like, just
it's hard to eat healthy on tour. Dean and Ty, they're pretty good at finding ways to exercise. I'm not really trying to find ways, so I'm pretty good at doing that as well. So,
Dave, let me be your life coach.
I'm also accomplishing my goals of not trying to exercise.
It's funny, man.
Yeah. Well, in the beginning too, we would see, even ourselves, we would just eat like shit. And so it would just be garbage food every night. Most of us were just getting drunk, and then it would catch up and you just get sick and you get worn out.
After a show and somebody's like, who had the sausage for dinner?
Oh no.
Somebody burped on stage and you're like, who was it? Who did it?
Oh, no.
Guilty.
And
guilty. I had the Italian. It's like spaghetti with Italian sausage.
When your face and your mind's into the music, but your eyes are looking around like, who just farted? Who the fuck was that?
Oh, dude. I've been on stage and I walked on and been like, whoa, what has happened? And of course, after the show, I'm like, hey, which one of you ripped one? And they're like, nope. No. I'm like, because someone would fess up. They don't care. They're like, yeah, it was me. Sorry. But I've smelled the sausage burp or the garlic burp when I've been somewhere, and I'm like, "Who was that?" And Dave was like, "That was me."
It's usually me because I don't drink anything now until I step on stage, right? So there's nothing moving that along until I get on stage and I start powering a few beers in the first few songs, chugging beers, and then all of a sudden things start happening.
Start moving, man. That's how it goes.
That's what I had for dinner.
I used to make that mistake, man. The one thing I've had to learn in the past few years is, as a singer, I have this buddy of mine who's been a good friend, good supporter of my band and my music for years. And the one thing I had to really learn was not what foods to eat and what foods not to eat before a show. And my buddy happens to be Italian, so it would be just the heaviest food, man, Italian food before a show, and it would just wreck me every single time.
It's all timing too, because I find sometimes when you're in an opening slot, especially, you can't. You're on at 7 p.m. and you're like, well, I can't eat at 5. That's too close. I'll try to. And it's catered. You're like, catering closes at 7:30, right when we finish our set. So I guess what I'll do is I'll eat a peanut butter and jam sandwich after the show again.
Yeah, exactly. And that's terrible. That's the worst. When you watch everybody else eat all the bomb catering foods, and you're just like, everything stuck through your mouth. Yeah.
You go to a festival. The festivals are the worst because sometimes you go to a festival and you fly in or whatever, and it's and you get tickets, right? Mm-hmm. You get one ticket. You lose a ticket, you don't eat, so you get a ticket. And you go, and the blue ticket's for lunch. Or you go up there and you're like, which ticket? The red ticket? No, blue ticket. Again, the blue. And you get up there and it's like, what's for lunch? Barbecue.
Yeah.
And you're like,
what
for dinner? Barbecue.
Just wreck you, man. Just in your whole life,
I love it.
Yeah. And some people will be like, oh, barbecue sounds amazing. Like, yeah, but in 20 years, man, I don't know. So I skip it. And the crew guys, though, they love it. Yeah. The crew guys. Oh, pretty much it's all about the crew guys anyways. A lot of that is for
They're the ones working all day.
People working.
mainly for the crew. Mainly for the crew. Those guys are the ones that really need that, man. It's like, you know, us artists and stuff, like, a phone call will make us okay in no time. It'll be done, you know, but like, God for the crew and stuff. Those are the guys you really got to look out for, because those are the guys that are making you look good, you know. So,
man, we went on tour with Motley Crue on Crue Fest. That was catering. Like that was I couldn't touch some of the stuff because it was just too good for me. It'd be like tuna tartare, and I'd be like,
what
going on here?
That's incredible.
Crazy. Yeah, that was some quality. Right? What's that?
Well, because they travel with their own
they chef and caterer. I made friends with them. I was trying to befriend them. Bring joints to them after dinner.
That's what I do. I would do that too, except for, you know, my only chefs I have in my family are really like Southern cuisine. I just feel like I'm just gonna come out looking, you know, 20 pounds heavier from a tour from eating fried chicken.
It could be dangerous.
It
could be dangerous.
And macaroni and cheese. Everything has butter in it, you know.
Oh yeah,
just wreck you.
What I've noticed in the South is everything is in casserole form. It's like, is there going to be any like vegetables? Yeah, it's broccoli casserole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My wife and I got engaged in New Orleans, and we were so pumped to be down there. We were so pumped to eat the food stuff. I toured through New Orleans a few times. I'd been there opening for when I was working with this group called Deep Cotton. I did a festival with Janelle Monáe, and you know, so I was down there for that, and I got down with you guys again for that we did the House of Blues down there, and then I went back. You know, after that, that was when I decided to go. We would go down there, and that's where I would get engaged. You know, and I have ties to. I got family stuff down there, but I never really like jumped into the food. And we get down there, we realize everything is just like 40 pounds. Like everything is just super butter. It's cream. It's super duper heavy. You know, delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Just wreck you, man. Just wreck you.
Yeah, it's hard to eat that diet all the time. That's why touring was fun, you know, because you could come to the South and you'd be like, we're in the South for a week, so you know what, that's all good.
Yeah,
just take you know, after this week you could take it easier. Now I live here, so I'm just like trying to learn how to make sausage and biscuits. Gravy.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, New Orleans, man. I remember the first time we played it. I think it was Mardi Gras. It was the opening day of Mardi Gras or something. We were just like, whoa. Did the whole beads thing. Ate the king cake. I think it was with Three Doors Down. I think we were playing some old theater with Three Doors or something, and then we went out on the town. And yeah, that's I like. And that's one question I have: is it New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans?
I think it's all of the above. I think English is a made-up language.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You know, it doesn't matter.
It's amazing when after Katrina hit, like we never went. It took so long for us to go back there, and you could still see the effects. I remember like just driving and seeing like hotel-sized buildings, just boarded windows, and they're just closed up. And
yeah,
it never really came back after that. You know, I don't think
it really had a hard time recovering.
Yeah, I didn't see that the recovery effort there was. I mean, it was a big debacle here in America. And
well, I'm really glad that we actually spent some time touring there and went there kind of before all that happened. But I remember one fun story in New Orleans was going to we went to the aquarium. Ty, do you remember that? And we walked there in the pissing rain, and that's when I'd realized like rain, because we came from the Pacific Northwest where it rains all the time, but then I experienced like the southern rain where it was like a sheet of water. And like I remember running from the bus to like 30 feet to the hotel door and being drenched. I'm like, I'm going to need to grab a bag of clothes to change into when we get there. And so we all brought bags of clothes and we went to the aquarium, and we just got there and went in the bathroom, changed into our dry clothes, and
that was
walked around.
See, the thing about the Northwest, man, the only kind of rain we get like that, and I don't know if people are familiar with this. If you've been in the Northwest, you know what this is, but we recently had something like that where the weather got really wild for a minute. And what will happen is the weather, it comes off the Pacific Ocean. And what will happen is that when the jet stream kind of is right over Seattle or in the Northwest area, we get what's called an atmospheric river, which sounds exactly like what it is.
Like
it's a river in the sky, and it just shits on you.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, and it just shits on you, man. So we had a couple of days of that here, and mudslides, and the power was out all over Western Washington. Like hundreds of thousands of people lost power. We lost power here. I mean, we were supposed to do this last week, and we couldn't do it because we were out of power. Like the internet was down across the region. My kid was out of school. Like it was terrible. It was awful.
Man.
It just goes to show that Seattle, even though it rains here, it's more of a light drizzle. Like if we got real rain, it's like it's pretty intense, man. It's pretty intense.
What was the longest you went without power?
Oh, that would have to be years ago, man. There was a similar storm like that back when I was in middle school, and I think it was about a day and a half, 2 days without power. Yeah,
I went 8.5 days without power. In March, right after Easter, we got hammered by a tornado, and it was 8.5 days before my house got power again.
That's insane, man. That's why I don't live where the sky can kill you. So I try to.
I didn't think that they knew. I don't think that they knew the tornado could come through there either. I think everyone was surprised, but yeah, it was.
That's surprising.
I told people that like it was. If you think about it in like a dartboard, like the funnel being bullseye, we were the second ring. Like one block parallel to my house, the houses were leveled,
demolished.
And my house was some damage, but it stood.
See, that's why I also hesitate to move, is because in Seattle we have like rain and earthquakes, and that's about it. You know, we'll have a windstorm, which is just like fast winds. It's not really like a natural disaster. You know,
the beauty about tornadoes is they can't strike the same place twice.
Well, that's good.
So,
what?
Yeah, it's a Mother Nature law.
Oh, okay.
Tornado.
It's like, I'll take your word for it.
Let me Google that.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the rules.
I've seen
one of Mother Nature rules.
You know? That's my education. My education tornadoes comes from the movie Twister.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great cast.
That was an awesome movie. I love that.
We grew up in, I don't know, about 2 hours north.
Yep.
Of Seattle, and so we grew up in the whole grunge era. So we would always see like videos and stuff, see like something where Pearl Jam was at like Moore Theater. There's some pretty like, for us, at least for musicians, there's some pretty badass like historic musical places like the Moore Theater or Showbox in the market there, or what's called, I think it's called, I don't know what it's called now. It was called Elcor Zone, and then before that was called the Off Ramp. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The off ramp. That I think was that in it must have been Capitol Hill. I think that was turned to Elcor Zone.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. It's a little seedy little club, but like all these famous bands have played all these places. So is there, when you were growing up, was there like a place like I cannot wait to like perform there or do my own show there?
The Crocodile, Numos, those are the places that even now I think if you're coming up as an indie musician in Seattle, like those are the spots, you know, like you dream of headlining your own show at like the big venues like that. The theaters are cool too, but I think that's like the next step. So once you start playing shows in the Crocodile, your next step is thinking, I want to do the Moore Theater. I wanted the Paramount after that, you know. But I think venues like the Crocodile, like the Showbox even, but the Crocodile and the Neptune Theater, those are the two big ones I think people really look at to get good shows. And in fact, like when I got signed to Big Machine, before I got signed, they came out to the show we did. A show we did at the Crocodile. Which was interesting because that was like the first time. I remember the first time I did a show at the Crocodile, thinking to myself, we got to sell this out, you know. And then years later, I mean, we've sold the Crocodile out probably close to 6 or 7 times in the years that I played it. And then my very last show there before the pandemic hit, it was my very last show in Seattle, period, right before the pandemic hit. And we had sold it out on the Thursday night, which is the night before the show was supposed to open, which was the earliest we'd ever sold it out, you know. But yeah, those are the venues that people look up to, and they go, man, we can't wait to play the Showbox. We can't wait to headline this or that, you know. So I think the Crocodile forever will be that spot, though. You know, like that's the place that, you know, if you really want to cement your legend, especially as a rock artist in Seattle, that's the spot you want to sell out. You
know? We're going to play it there. We have to play the Croc.
I used to go to Seattle for shows. If you were a music fan in Vancouver, you were probably disappointed a few times when the act that you wanted to see got held up at the border and didn't get to make it through. It would happen so often. You would have tickets to a show and you'd be like, oh, so-and-so's coming to the town pump. And then they'd get held up at the border because it was a tough border crossing and everybody had drugs, I guess. I don't know. I just assumed.
That's right.
And now that I'm in a band, I know that's true.
Yep.
I wonder why they couldn't make it into Canada.
Yeah.
One of the crew guys didn't have the proper paperwork. Yeah,
so you just have to start buying tickets and go see them in Seattle. If you really wanted to see them, don't take a chance that they're not going to make it, because it was just too many times disappointed. And no bands come across Canada. They just dip in. They do their American tour and dip in from Seattle, play Vancouver, and then get back.
Because Canada, I mean, I don't know if the tax thing still applies, but they would tax the crap out of American artists, man. They really would. They would hit us with hard taxes, which made it hard for American artists to, especially if you were independent, to get out there. So you had all these underground bands in the States that wanted to go play Canada, but like didn't want to deal with the taxes that were applied every time you went out there.
Yep.
And I can relate to the drug thing. I mean, we're from Seattle. I mean, we're big weed heads. Everybody in the Northwest is a weed head at this point, and always has been. I probably always will be. But even when we were on tour with you guys, we're traveling through. We were chasing you guys. You guys had a tour bus. We had a minivan, and so we're trying to keep up with the bus. And we were traveling through Nassau County, and I had a few drink or something like that, and we got pulled over because the drummer needed to take a piss. We pulled to the side of the road, and he's pissing in the road. All of a sudden, the lights come up and blow us up, and the cop comes to the car. And he asks for everyone's ID. And for a minute there, I remember thinking to myself, like, nah, fuck that. He's not supposed to ask for my ID. Trying to say I'm not the one getting pulled over. Like thinking like some rights flex shit you see on the internet where people are like, nah, what's First Amendment? First Amendment. No, man, First Amendment. Fuck that. No, First Amendment. Right. I got my rights. So I'm thinking to my head at first, and I realized like there are 3 brown dudes in this car in Nassau County. I'm not gonna stop for this moment to be like, yo, man, not rights flex. Hold up, man. Why you taking my? I was like, no problem, sir. Here you go. Yeah, absolutely no problem. We had the white guy driving the van.
There you are, officer.
Yeah, here you are, officer. There you go. You had the white guy driving the van. So luckily he had it held down. I got this guy. So what seems to be the problem, officer? How can we help you? Yeah. So
hilarious.
He gets the.
I used to always take your guys' bud for you guys anyway. So you were all good.
What?
That's sweet, man. Yeah.
What a nice guy.
But so yeah, it's I can relate, man. I mean, I've yet to do shows in Canada, man. I've been wanting to so bad to cross over the border and get in there, and that'll probably happen now that I'm signed and things are opening back up. I mean, and the single's been doing pretty decently in Canada, so hopefully we'll get a chance to get back up there. But
they'd love you out there, man. They'd love you up there.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Yeah. I've been kind of chomping at the bit to get out there in the UK and all that stuff. And luckily, as the single has been blown up, getting the opportunities to start showing up in different places around the world and even Canada. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, you're getting some good looks, which is great for us. Like we're just cheering you on, being rock guys, because rock can be quite. Can you say animose? Well, there's people get kind of bitter when they see other people do well, but they don't realize that, like, especially now with rock and roll, like you need as many people as possible to kind of go out there and make people see rock and roll, that it can be fantastic. So we're always cheering on friends, but anybody in rock, but with friends, especially you, like we see what you're doing. We're just like, yes.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
Let's get him on the podcast. We won't do it.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that, man. That tour we did with you guys back in 2017 was, we were still independent back then too, man. So like, just to be on a big tour like that was such an opportunity. And it was the first time that I think we'd been on a big national tour like that. Like we'd done some stuff at 8-week indie tours, playing little clubs here and there, playing some. I remember we played this venue down in near downtown Utah, and that was terrible. Salt Lake City, man, it was terrible. We showed up and we're like, "Where's the sound guy?" We're like, "You're the sound guy." Okay, where's the equipment?
Who else was on that run with us? Who did we do that? Who else was on that run?
Royal Republic out of Sweden.
Oh right, Royal Republic. Man, that was a good tour. That was a good bill there.
That was fun, man. That was a great.
That's when we got pepper spray bombed out of.
What was that? Reno?
Was that Reno? Was that tour?
No, that wasn't that tour.
I think that was the leg. You guys hit that leg, that Reno leg after we hopped off. So we were with you guys for about 7 weeks, and then you guys hit that leg. Okay.
No, you missed a good one.
Oh shit!
There's been more than one, I felt, but those are the best stories. Those are the stories you get to hold on to and tell years from now when you're playing, the Paramount or whatever, and you can go, I remember we played this place where I had to do sound, and those are the greatest stories.
They are, man.
People don't want to hear the stories where you complain that you ran out of bacon in the catering, or the masseuse didn't show up backstage.
No.
Those are the stories your friends tell. Trust me, they want to hear those ones.
Sleeping on some chick's couch and her boyfriend comes home. You got to dip out. Those are the he's back, run.
Oh man, that happens to me so much.
Those are the best stories, man. I remember a lot of those stories, man. And I cherish those. I mean, those are, I don't want to go back. At this point, no. I feel, being signed after you get signed. If you've been indie for a long time, and if you get signed, especially if you get signed by a good label and you get a great team of people. I mean, we share some of the same team. My project and you guys' projects. There's some of the same team, so I know you can probably relate to this to an extent. But when you're doing the indie grind, and then all of a sudden you get the help that you've like so longed for a long time, you never want to go back. I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. I really wouldn't. But I do cherish those moments sitting in the minivan and all the stories, man. Just crossing the United States and just meeting the people. I mean, touring is what really developed my affinity for where I'm from and the people of America, and the different backgrounds, which I really enjoyed. I mean, a lot of these conservative places that are now considered Trump country, are places that I fell in love with because they were had these small town mentalities and these different. You could see why their ideologies came from where they came from. You know what I mean? You could understand
things change a little bit when you get in the bus. You don't see the countryside anymore. You see the flat screen TVs and the inside of the curtains. So this really is this value to having cut your teeth in a van and having seen the country, because you do it. You get your hand on the steering wheel, even maybe, But I definitely think that when you all of a sudden you get in the bus and you're touring, you lose track of it. That's when you start doing the "Hello Cleveland," because it's a time machine. You just get in it.
Idea where you're at, man.
You get out of it and you're at a different place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. I think a lot of people, I was talking to a lot of my friends that have been experiencing the pandemic. They're like, "Oh, we don't know what day it is." I'm like, "Welcome to my life." That's how it is in the music industry, man. You just don't, I think just to give people insight to that a little more is that in the music industry, I can get a phone call tomorrow and they could tell me look, we need you to go to Nashville, and that's it, and I'm off for Nashville on a Wednesday, and you land on a Wednesday and you get there on a Thursday and you have no idea what day it is, you have no clue what's going on, you have and all of a sudden you've been on this 7-day grind and then you get home and it's like it's Tuesday. And in your brain, you feel like it's like it should be Friday or Saturday, and everybody else is like, "Oh, it's happy Sunday to you, happy Friday," or whatever. It's like it really messes you up, man. So when you get especially when you get in the bus or in the van and you're doing 5 days a week of shows, you have no idea what day it is, what time it is, or where you're at, even, and you have to the guys helping you with your set list and put your shit together or writing the name in the corner, so you don't fuck it up and look stupid like you did last night. Like, "Hello, Arizona."
I've never done that.
Hello, everybody's like,
yeah, right.
They go. You have the quiet boo. Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
Oh my God, that's the scariest thing.
Yeah.
As a singer, that is the scariest thing. We did a thing. I don't even tell a story because then they'll know the truth. But I was singing "Sweet Home Alabama."
You think anybody really bought it? Come on, they know the truth. And we were doing Ohio, and then we went into Michigan. Now Ohio, Michigan, obviously despise each other, especially with rivals, especially sports. Yeah, and I did this "Sweet Home Alabama" thing, and I always sing "Sweet Home Michigan." Yeah, and then they're like, "Yeah." I can't remember what happened. We went into the other state, and I said the wrong state's name, and they were going to kill me. Yeah, they were booing. There was no quiet, polite booing. It was.
Oh, there's not, man.
He's like, "Hold on, let me finish."
Tour, man.
Yeah,
it's different regions of how hard the music scenes are in different regions, man. It's like that's one thing you'll really find out, which towns are really about their music and which towns are just enjoy having you there, Right. And I remember that feeling in Philadelphia, that we did pretty great opening for you cats. I felt we had a really great show. We didn't have all the resources of a touring band would normally have, but we made an impression with our live performances, and I think just about every night it felt like people were really impressed by us. And I remember getting in Philadelphia, man, that show we did I think it was in Stroudsburg, and we're out there in Pennsylvania, and I remember sitting there, and it's just these dudes dressed like punk rockers in black just staring at you. What else you got? Cool. All right, that's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, cool. And then after the show, they're like, okay, cool. You passed the test, you know. And I
they passed the test. Yeah. You win.
You passed the test. Not bad.
You've won me over.
Bad. Let me get a sticker. Cool. They don't want to buy any merch. They don't want to buy a CD or anything. They just want a sticker.
They signed it.
It's real punk.
Yeah, you know.
That's real punk.
That's actually how I learned figured out that Seattle was actually such a hard town. It was like when we came back, and I remember we come back and right after I went on that tour, and we were supposed to do a show. No, it was right before actually. We were supposed to do a show with Royal Blood and Guns N' Roses at the Gorge right before we jumped on tour with you guys. And I'll never forget this, man. Some band out of Ohio comes through and the kid is dressed like he's got the blonde hair and he's got the flannel and he's like his band's got a little bit of that punky edge, you know. And he gets on stage and they start going and they weren't like terrible, but you don't come to Seattle and do our bit to us, you know. And they booed him off the stage basically, bro. They didn't nobody cared. They just ate him alive. And I was just like, wow, Seattle actually is a really hard music town. Like I grew up here, so I'm more used to like how to get the crowd won over. But like those guys ate those dudes alive and destroyed them.
We lost you there for a sec, but we're back. And you know, maybe
right, guys, right?
Back in black. Guys, I do that all the time, guys. When I say like a really inappropriate joke somewhere, and they're like,
Tyler,
anybody?
Get in the back. That guy in the back there. No.
Nobody? Oh man. Well, sweet man, thanks so much for coming on our old podcast here. It's a blast. It's
so good to catch up, man.
Yeah,
we're going to get you. We'll have to get you on the road with us in Canada or something like that.
You know, I would love that, gentlemen. You know, we had such a good time the first time around, and the time. I mean, it's, you know, there's something to be said about connecting with cats from the Northwest. And it's just like there's a vibe.
The whole country's legal.
You know,
the whole country's legal too. So we're
getting close here. We're getting close here in America, man. We are getting close to. I mean, now that the Senate is Democratic and the House is Democratic, they've already passed legislation through the House to federally legalize marijuana.
That's right. It's coming.
I think it's coming, man. And you want to know what's funny? I literally said this in my last interview. I think that is going to be one of the first things that brings America together, bro. It's like, it sounds crazy. As crazy as it sounds, I think it's going to be one of the first things that does it.
How are we not in the biz? How are we not in the weed biz? I heard like Robert Mondavi, you know that wine? I think it's Robert Mondavi. It's like a wine. Supposedly he died or something, and his kids now run it, and his kids don't want to run it. They want to sell it all and grow weed. I heard.
That's where it's at, man. That's why
more money in it.
Weed is the new wine.
Weed's the new wine. Weed wine.
Yeah. Weed wine.
Yeah,
that's delicious. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Hand in
Sweet
hand.
Man. We'll talk soon, and we'll see you out there on the road.
Absolutely, man. It's good talking with you cats, man. We'll catch up soon.
You too. Take care, man. Yeah, what a great guy. I think I say that on every one of our podcasts, but it's because we have great guests.
We do have great guests, and a lot of times it's people that we've spent time with. So for me, it's like it's fun catching up, and it's just seeing people's faces. That's always been my thing. Like when we go on tour, play a festival, it always feels like a reunions, right? I'm always like, I'm social. I love seeing people. I love catching up, and so this is fun for me because it gives me that opportunity to catch up with people that we've spent time with, and Ayron was definitely a guy I spent a bunch of time with on tour.
Yeah, Crocodile. I it's weird. I never heard of that venue. I got to check it out. I probably have heard of it.
It's one of those ones that maybe has gone through a few name changes. Who knows?
Possibly. Yeah, I love playing there. So silly is that. It's cliche, but the first Starbucks ever is in the market there, and so every time I play Seattle, I got to walk to the Starbucks, and they changed it. They used to go there, and they had the whole thing was like they had the original Starbucks logo was actually the full. You could see her boobs, and it was the full. And I guess they put her hair there now for obvious reasons. But they had that. And I thought it was really cool because they had all the tables. So the countertops were all like stainless steel, like a butcher or something.
Right.
It was so cool. And they changed it. Last time I went in there, they had like a regular Starbucks. They redid it. I was like, no.
What a bummer. That's a bummer.
But that's it. That's it for our podcast. Hope you enjoyed it this week. Ayron Jones. So stay tuned for the next one, whatever it may be. Woo! But yeah, so check us out at bandmeetingpodcast.com. All of our socials, it's just Band Meeting Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and you can go on there and check out what we're doing. There's got merch on there, and leave us a like, leave us a comment, and you can reach us at bandmeetingpodcast@gmail.com. You can tell us if you have any guest ideas. We're always up, or any comments on the show, what we shouldn't do. If we should wear masks.
Exactly. Whatever. Let us know. We're here for you.
Anything else, Dave?
Well, that's everything, man. Let's wrap it up.
Let's leave. Bye-bye.